This video is brought to you by Incogni. All right, I want you to watch Trump's face the moment he's confronted about probably the largest security lapse the US has had in a while after JD Vance and Pete Hegseth accidentally exchanged intel, very, very private intelligence in a group chat with a random reporter from The Atlantic. Well, he's not random, he's quite popular, but he has nothing to do with our national security and the strikes on the Houthis. Let me play this clip, but first, watch CNN breaking down the significance and Republican reactions as well.
Just want to say I've spoken to two very high-ranking former intelligence officials, both of whom worked for Republicans, and they both said that they were stunned, along with everybody else, that there is no defense that this could have happened and that someone should be fired. So let me just give you a couple of quotes. I asked, would you ever set up communication like this on a commercial app? Absolutely not. There's secure video conferencing. This is not the way it's done. Quote, they broke every procedure known to man about protecting operational material before a military strike. The lack of operational security and stupidity is just stunning.
They broke every single rule there is, every single operational provision that exists to keep this stuff from not leaking was broken. And I said in my last video, but if this was someone who was slightly less, favorable towards the US, if this was someone slightly more hostile, think a Tucker Carlson, who I'm sure Pete Hegseth has on his phone, Tucker would have absolutely relayed this information to a hostile actor, and this hostile foreign actor could have actually hurt American intelligence personnel, operations. They could have retaliated first. It could have gone horribly wrong. And watch how our stable genius president reacts to probably the worst national security lapse in a while. Like, read some of these texts. JD Vance said, at Pete Hegseth, if you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again. Let's just make sure our messaging is tight here. And if there are things we can do up front to minimize risk to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it. So JD Vance was worried about oil, but let me remind you as well, JD Vance was actually saying he disagrees with Donald Trump. Let me read this. At this point, a fascinating policy discussion commenced. The account labeled JD Vance responded at 8:16 and said, quote, team, I am out for the day doing an economic event in Michigan, but I think we are making a mistake. Vance was indeed in Michigan that day. The Vance account then goes on to make a noteworthy statement, considering the vice president has never deviated publicly from Trump's position on virtually any issue. He said, quote, I am not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There's further risk that we see a moderate to severe spike in oil prices. I am willing to support the consensus of the team and keep those concerns to myself, but there is a strong argument for delaying this a month, doing the messaging work on why this matters, seeing where the economy is, etc., etc. That is JD Vance saying that while he will publicly agree with Trump, he's kind of beginning to second guess Trump's intuition privately. And then it's funny because JD Vance, or at least a spokesperson, came out and said, the vice president is perfectly aligned with the president on everything, where it's like, yeah, he said in this text he'll publicly align with Trump. So of course, the public statements are going to say that. But let's check out this clip of Donald Trump. All that I ask from you is to scroll down, hit that like button, and let's watch.
Your reaction to the story in The Atlantic that said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis?
Right.
Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
You're telling me about it for the first time. Really quickly, watch Jamie Raskin responding to this, then I'll break down what Trump said.
In part because of criticism around her handling of classified information. How do you expect Republicans to respond to what we've learned about how it was being handled by the current Secretary of Defense and others?
Well, it'll be child's play to go back and find all of the Republicans who were demanding congressional investigations and that Hillary Clinton apologize and leave the campaign and so on.
Exactly. Do you know how many times Republicans freaked out about Hillary Clinton's emails, about Joe Biden posting that picture of the IDF, yet they are silent about Donald Trump's multiple security lapses? And what this video shows is that Trump has literally no ability to respond to any sort of disaster or bad event. You know he tries to spin everything into a win, but it just doesn't work when you have egg on your face. When the emperor literally has no clothes, you can't spin it any further. It reminds me of the COVID pandemic. During the COVID pandemic, Trump gave these almost daily pressers where it was just a disaster. It also reminds me of the DC plane crash. When the DC plane crashed about a month and a half ago, Trump gave a press conference and immediately blamed DEI and turned it into this disastrous shit show. That's exactly what this reminds me of. Now, he's not making it into this big disastrous show, but I mean, he just has no ability to respond to any sort of disastrous event. Watch what he says right after.
The investment, partly because of tariffs. On April 2nd, the reciprocal tariffs will go into effect. Is it truly reciprocal? Are there some countries that might get a break or some sectors that might get a break?
Well,
can I just say really quickly, Trump is now lost in the sauce, some would say. Trump is now lost in his tariff policy so much that he doesn't know what's reciprocal from who. He doesn't even know at this point if are we putting reciprocal tariffs on Canada's reciprocal tariffs? Who even started this? He's done these on and off tariff policies every single month, and then he moves it back a few weeks. We've all seen him move it back and then pause the tariffs and then start them, but then move it back another 3 weeks. And all this does is create an incredibly unpredictable environment for businesses across the country. Businesses thrive when they can operate in a very predictable environment where they know how many funds they need to allocate where, on what basis, what they need to import and export. And Trump is taking that predictability factor away, and you see it in the S&P 500. You see it in the charts. None of it is good, and it's all caused by Donald Trump. But let me play this answer.
well, I may give a lot of countries breaks, but it's reciprocal, but we might be even nicer than that. You know, we've been very nice to a lot of countries for a long time, but I call it Liberation Day. April 2nd is Liberation Day. But today, as you know, we did something with respect to Venezuela. You heard about that, and that will be quite important. We'll be announcing some additional tariffs over the next few days.
This dude just loves tariffs, and I've got some really interesting debates regarding tariffs coming up, so stick around. Make sure you've dropped a like, and check this out. You ever sign up for one thing, maybe a newsletter, a discount code, some sort of dumb quiz, and suddenly your inbox is full of spam? I'm literally not joking. I got signed up for a right-wing newsletter out of nowhere because somebody got a hold of my email. That's because companies and data brokers sell and hoard your personal data on a daily basis. And if you think it's as simple as I'll just unsubscribe and I'll just click this button and delete it, no. There are hundreds of data brokers bouncing your data around that you've never even heard of. And that's where Incogni comes in. Incogni is like a personal data cleanup crew. They reach out to the data brokers on your behalf and demand that they delete your info. You don't have to be involved in the process whatsoever, and your name, your email, your home address, even your shopping habits get deleted from all of these data brokers that are genuinely hoarding your data. I signed up for Incogni, and within a month, they removed my number from 164 websites. I was wondering where the hell the spam calls were coming from. Where are these emails coming from? And Incogni took care of it for you. So if you have annoying spam filling up your inbox, or if you're getting annoying spam calls and you want to take your personal data off of this market, this invisible market that you can't even see, I urge you to go to incogni.com/Mockler and use code Mockler to get 60% off the annual plan. Again, 60% off, which is a massive discount. All you have to do is click the link below, incogni.com/Mockler, and use code Mockler. It takes 2 minutes to sign up. Do what you need to do. Take care of all of the spam emails at incogni.com/Mockler. Thank you to Incogni, and thank you to everybody watching this video. I appreciate it a lot.